Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world. We're back with HLTV podcast. I'm Chad Sponge Birchall. I'm joined by Striker and Prof. And Striker, why are you feeling on top of the world right now?
Because I've been on LA schedule while I'm in Central Europe.
Okay, so I'm sure you're.
I woke up like 2 hours ago, basically.
I knew we had to do the podcast today, so I went to bed last night extremely early. I think it was like 10 p.m. local, and then accidentally woke up with enough time to spare because I forgot to set an alarm. Prof, what about you? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Actually, had a social life existed yesterday, which is insane. Actually, that I woke up, went to vote for the EU election, and now I'm here.
So it's a bit busy. All right.
Decent. It's okay.
Well, we need to tweet this thing's live. Let me get my cellular telephone device out and send some stuff out to the stratosphere. We're going to kick this one off with breaking news, and a lot of stuff has actually happened overnight while I've been sleeping, which is unsurprising. That normally seems to be the way, in the way that the news works. So the first one that we're going to be kicking off today with, because we are, unfortunately, all of you joining us straight away, we're on a bit of a time constraint today. Unusual time for us to be rocking and rolling, but we're going to cut this one a little bit short. Where are we? We're going to start with the Calyx standing in for blocker situation. Now, last week we did yay and nay. This one here isn't really a yay or a nay situation. Which one of you knows this situation more intimately?
I just saw the post.
Just came out like 30 minutes
yeah,
ago.
I don't think there's a lot to be discussed. It's just like blocker has visa issues. He's from Bulgaria. United States are being kind of cunts with visas in general. He got visa denied or whatever. So they picked up a player they think can help them out. So they didn't go for another Bulgarian player because they probably all of them need visas, so that isn't an option. And Calyx is like a free agent right now. He wants to try out different things and tweeted that he had like a 10-year US visa just for like the tourist or whatever he is attending on. So they picked him up for the team.
It is going to be curious though, just because of, I imagine, like language issues. I don't think everybody on that team speaks English very well.
I don't think anyone
Calyx.
speaks good English.
I mean, Bubble I think is okay. Outside of that, I'm not even sure if anybody actually speaks English. I think Bubble's okay. I've like talked to him a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Calyx, I don't think he speaks almost at all. So
I mean, Calyx has been he's been saying that he does speak English. That's kind of his way to get out of the Turkish whatever is going on down there right now, trying to get on a decent team. So, but still, like these, I mean, in a way, if they all have broken English, maybe that works out better than if like 2 guys have broken like Eastern European English and then 3 guys are like from Sweden or something. So maybe they understand themselves because they use a similar way of wrong English.
Looking at the bracket, right? Obviously, the language situation is a huge deal here. But with them going into this tournament, just if you look at the bracket right now, they're on the group with FaZe, NIP, Vitality, North, and Liquid, right? So them getting through, if they had their proper roster, would have been pretty hard, but it would have been like building on their success from WSG, right? Which is forever ago right now. But now they just become... It's almost like this isn't meant to sound like disrespectful or anything. This is what I would say for any team with a standing coming into a tournament like this. It almost is a waste of time, right? Because now, like, you look at it, it's like, well, they're not really getting any experience because they're playing with a stand-in. The language barrier is going to be dog shit for everybody. There's not a single positive thing to really take out of this for Wendigo. Best bet, maybe they play spoiler to a team, but then that's shit for the overall narrative of the tournament. If they like play spoiler over a team because they have like some really randy game and Calyx,
they honestly
50,
could.
just,
like looking at FaZe, just like adding, like we're gonna get into this, but looking at their first 2 matches potentially, which is FaZe, and then whoever either wins or loses between NIP and Tyloo, they're gonna meet that team. So that's those teams are actually some that they could potentially beat, like under weird circumstances. Or just FaZe don't show up, or NIP or being NIP.
Their only benefit is potentially to like place, I don't know, to beat 1 or 2 teams and then use that as like their ranking to improve further. That's all that good can come out for Vertigo, I guess.
Pretty much.
All right, well, I guess this one's pretty open and shut, but we do have more DreamHack Dallas news. Obviously, Gratisfaction, apparently his visa situation has been sorted in time for Dallas, but this is another one that you look at and you go, well, they've obviously had a period of time right now where they've had Smooya, right? They've just played Summit. They're not playing in the finals, so they don't have to worry about playing with him today. But they played EPL with him, and that's over a decent period of time, right? We're talking at least 2 to 3 week period since Sydney. They wouldn't have practiced Gratisfaction at all. We don't know how his practice would have been in the interim. If he was staying in New Zealand, it would have been suboptimal. There's not a lot of top-tier Counter-Strike down there to be, keeping yourself relatively poised. So this one here, it's fantastic that if his visa situation has been sorted, that he's back. I'm having a look here through the article. Is there any news that he actually got his P1, or maybe he's just,
It doesn't say, because it's not an official announcement. It's just Smuya tweeted that he's done with Renegades. I'm done.
Okay.
Gratisfaction's coming in. So Gratisfaction didn't confirm it yet, or Renegades, but it's more or less according to sources that it's true, and Renegade, the thing is sorted. So I guess it is a P1 visa. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for him to come. Because originally they said that he's probably gonna miss Dallas as well. So they wouldn't bring him in for a short-term visa just to play this event if they already said that he's just on the look for the P1.
Yeah, so hopefully this goes smoothly for them, because obviously we want to see the teams competing with their full rosters. This kind of just builds on what we're saying about Wendigo. If you have a proper team, if you're not in limbo right now, if you're not making changes all the time, then obviously you want to be playing with the consistency of your roster. But I think maybe this is where the fact that they did have a high ranking coming into this tournament before all the nonsense with the roster issues played in actually helps them a lot, because you look at their side of the bracket.
Yeah, their group isn't that tough, right?
Exactly. I think G2, they have very high highs and can have very low lows. I think that's
still top this, honestly.
Yeah, but I think Renegades are in with a shot. Ents, what did they do? Split every game so far at Summit. Obviously, I put a lot of stock in Ents. I think they're a fantastic team, but Renegades seem to be able to have a really good showing against Ents.
Yep.
So if they can do that, then it's good news, and I think it's really good news for Renegades overall. I don't think there's there's really no negatives in this situation. I think Smooth came in, did a pretty good job. I think Smooth has definitely put himself out there for a well-rounded individual, to play in a team at this point.
Yeah. As you said, their group isn't that tough. I wouldn't say they're favorite to go through. NRG, Ents, Fnatic, I say those are the three teams for me, just based on the Renegade situation right now. But there is a chance for them to go through, and just to build on it going forward into Cologne and into the major and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't think we can still expect much. Again, we're going to touch on this so when we actually get to Dallas, but I don't think we're going to expect big things from Renegades anyway. Just because of how long they've been kind of practicing with a different player, or not at all even. So I don't think this is something to be excited about for this event specifically, but just in general, them fixing the whole situation and actually being able to play with the full roster is going to be great in the long term.
Okay, so the next big one, which I'm sure we can move on to, and this one had me laughing quite a lot, because I thought it was very amusing that Liquid are now playing in the qualifier and not qualifier for Cologne. When I read this news, I the statement that Steve wrote was obviously very comprehensive, and it was good to give a bit of perspective from where Liquid were thinking. And you could understand, maybe they thought more teams were going to skip Cologne, right? That could have been a possibility. But just so everybody's aware, there is no doubt in my mind that Liquid would have received an invitation from ESL to go directly to ESL 1 Cologne. 100%. So they would have chosen to skip the event on the basis that there are a lot of events happening. And now that they've seen that all the other top dogs are going to be there, the fact that they already have now won a slot in the Intel Grand Slam, and they could win one this week in Dallas, that they could be poised to put themselves in a very good position to be looking hot to trot. So they will have to play through. Is it the GG bet?
GG bet in Cologne Invitational, yeah.
And there obviously is going to be some pretty decent teams in that. But you would have Liquid as the second best team in the world. So for them, with all the other top contenders already at Cologne, there shouldn't be too many dramas there. But for me, I don't know what you guys think, I'm just glad that they reconsidered that, because now Cologne, I made a tweet not that long ago saying that Cologne would probably be the only event where we'd see all the top teams before the major. And then I learned some news that it wouldn't be, which was Liquid not going. And now if they qualify again, now we're back on track, because think about it, we wouldn't have had all the top teams at an event together from major until major, right? That would have been fucking unreal.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for the past 3 months or something, because we saw the schedule, we saw teams not appearing at certain events. We've been talking about it even before the whole Blast exclusivity and all of that drama came out. We've been talking about this, and the Liquid not going to Cologne was the only question mark, but we kind of figured out it was going to happen. And people that reacted to this news of Liquid being not the invite but going through the qualifier and saying like, oh, ESL, what the fuck are they doing? How can they not?
This
like,
is definitely
can
like,
you
fuck no.
literally just pause for a second? Why would they not invite them? Like, why? Think about it. So they invited them for sure. So all in all, yeah, I think it's in the end like Liquid fucked themselves pretty hard. Like
they got play less CS now. They have to play more.
Yeah, and they have to play online CS and maybe not even qualify and stay longer in Europe and get like they got some bad rep because they wanted to skip it, obviously, even though they didn't say it. But I think it's like more than obvious right now that they wanted to skip Cologne, but then maybe the public pressure and all of that kind of got into it, and they decided like, okay, if we at least give it a try, then no one can like they can blame us still, but at least a bit less. So all in all, interesting.
All right.
Striker, you wanted to say something?
No, I
just
mean,
zoned out.
You guys have all covered it.
The next one.
But just touching on Liquid before that, I think they are again in the same situation now that they were last year almost, with the possibility of being burnt out at ESL1 Cologne, because now they didn't qualify for ECS. How much that was like, they probably didn't want to play that tournament, and then they had to play MIBR in the final. We can touch on that later because it's a separate topic, but I have a feeling that they really didn't even want to go there or play, so they're like, okay, it's just a funny thing, I feel like.
Well, they're coming to. I think they made a statement saying they're going to boot camp in Malta between Pro League finals and ESL1 Cologne. Is that?
I think it's ESL. No, ECS and ESL. Pro League.
All right. Well,
and
the thing is,
and between those tournaments is the GGBet Invitational. So
okay, so ECS finishes, then they stay in Europe. And then
the Invitational actually ends right the day before Pro League starts, so they're probably just going to have to play it.
But they'll be
from like
Europe
or something.
Let me tell you, it's not easy to get to
Malta.
No. I wanted to say Marseille, but that's not Marseille where we're going. We're going to Montpellier. It's not easy to get to Montpellier. I have to fly from Malta to Montpellier to Marseille and then get a 2-hour car because like there's no direct flight. So they're going to go the other way, assuming. No, they're going to go the same way. Maybe they'll be on the same plane.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll be in the same car and we can talk about counter.
Yeah, but all in all, because they're not at ECS, they'll have one more week in the US before they go to Europe. So, and then go to Europe for 2 weeks and then go back.
Honestly,
and then
a pretty rough schedule looking at it.
Go back to Cologne and then go back to LA Blast and then IM Chicago. So it's going to be a lot of tournaments still.
Yeah, exactly. Because they have Summit in 2 days. When Summit ends, they're going to have a day to just travel to Dallas and immediately get into that tournament. Then I imagine they're going to have a couple of days at home before they travel over to Europe for that boot camp and for the Cologne Invitational, which starts about a week or like 10 days after Dallas ends. And then literally as they finish the online Cologne Invitational, they have to play Pro League. And then they again have maybe like 2 weeks before LA and then Chicago.
Cologne,
Cologne,
LA, Chicago.
Then LA, then Chicago. Yeah, exactly.
If they qualify, yeah. But that's like the thing is, a lot of people are on that run to taper out the year, and I think let's be honest, with a 2.5 week break you're going to have before the major, and technically for them it's going to be 3.5 weeks. Like obviously they have to start practicing before, but they're going to have like a pretty decent lead in time. I think most players have come to terms with the fact that the player break this year is not a player break. I think a lot of teams might take a liberty towards the end of this year to take more tournaments off, especially probably in that, I would say, October-November period. Because if you look at it right now, the next major obviously is pushed. It's going to be much later. And I would be taking longer Christmas holidays after all the events finish and all that kind of stuff if I was these guys. But yeah, this year, I think it's just full steam ahead. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how it all unfolds. We do have the next point coming in about the update to Vertigo and obviously the grenades. So we'll start with the grenade change. It's ridiculous that when these changes get found, like when the command line is found, that it can be fixed so quickly. It's like something which obviously hasn't been communicated to Valve succinctly before, which people might sit here and think that's a ridiculous statement. But let's be honest with all the things that they have on their plate that they're looking at, that they're worried about. I'm sure the fact that they hear people occasionally making a tweet or saying something about a smoke being different from the client or for each person, they're probably not looking into it. But then as soon as that command came out and it was like fucking top page, Reddit, millions of retweets, all that kind of stuff, and it's just like front and center as a whole community thing behind it, then they take notice of it and then they fix it within 48 hours? Like it took them 48 hours to fix the smokes and Molotovs and all that kind of stuff are the same for everybody, which is... It's fantastic, let's be honest.
Yeah, they put in like the hotfix just to disable the command, like the record abuse, recording the demo to get the smoke to change. And then they fixed the whole issue in like 2 days, which is kind of cool. But it is one of those things that pro players are totally disengaged from what like Valve as a company is doing. And they don't realize like they are not reading your pro player tweets every day. And they're not giving that much attention to something you tweet about once in like a 6-month span. Even though you talk about it constantly, like between yourselves, maybe in interviews or stuff like that, that is not their main point of attention. If you want stuff like that changed, either like go out with like more, I don't know, vigor, or email them directly and talk about it. Like that's the way it should be approached.
Yep.
So that change is good, and then the Vertigo one. I don't know, Strike, have you had a chance to watch too much Vertigo stuff?
Well, I watched Summit where it was played like a couple of times. I saw both games, and I'm particularly a little bit skeptical about the gap in a site, like the new gap that allows you to drop down to ramp and just like see through and shit. I'm not a big fan, also because it's basically like you are, as a T, you are able to self boost there, so it creates like a new entrance into A, which just makes the CTs a little bit too nervous about just like another thing that they have to look at and have to actually have somebody watch all the time, basically, just not to get fucked by it and backstab and stuff. So I'm not entirely sure that the change actually made what Valve intended to do with it, because I think they probably wanted it to be like another point from which CTs can defend the ramp, but it's not. They're not in a particularly good spot defending the ramp from that gap. Like the Ts will have a pretty solid angle on you if you do that. And then there's another point that they probably wanted to do, which is just to create another way for CTs to do some aggression towards that area. And I haven't seen that happening too much. So yeah, not sure that the changes really work as intended.
Yeah, I think looking at it, I think I've watched almost every Summit game. There's only one yesterday that I was asleep through, and watching a lot of the Vertigo stuff that's been played, like it's actually been played, it was twice yesterday, right? Like Liquid played it once and Renegades played it once, and I watched it when it first came out, and they played it on ECS as well. And looking at it, because we just had one of the older versions played in Pro League, and looking at the contrast between the two of them, there's a lot less spamming going on. There is like a significant amount of less spamming going on through that wall. That's one thing that I've really noticed. They made a change with that box behind the wooden wall where there's now a cone, and you can boost one player on your head of that cone. You can have an angle. I think that's cool. It also allows like a deeper angle to be in on when they're coming up. I thought that was pretty cool, but it still doesn't fix the root cause of the map, which is for any duel to happen or for any territory for the CT to take, it happens within the first 15 seconds of the round. Now, you can say, oh yeah, mid doors on dust 2 or long, but there's only few circumstances as to where the CT doesn't have the advantage on those positions when you think about those maps. Okay, mid doors, if you're playing in matchmaking, it's probably 50-50 who's going to win that fight because of the average level of players. In professional gameplay, it's going to be much heavily weighted, I would say 80-20 in favor of the T. Long doors... 100%. Long doors is in favor of the CT. The CT have control of that area. They have to use utility to get pick control, but the Ts also have to use a shitload of utility to get into control of that part of the map. So that's like a equal trade-off with the CT having more stock. Mirage, mid. Ts have to use utility to get control. If they go A ramp, they have to use utility. If they go up B, they have to use utility. Right now, the T can literally just fucking run up that ramp at A, and they get duels, right? If the CT wants to go aggro, the CT has to use utility, and the T just has to take fight. Same as towards B. noticed Liquid were trying to, and Renegades as well, I think, were trying to put emphasis on getting control of B lobby, right? They were smoking off like the B lobby entrance, they were Molotoving the stairs, they were trying to push a player in. That's where we had the Taric fucking jump around from spawn and he killed a Liege. But
that's fucking ridiculous, by the way. I really don't like that facet of the map. I think it's kind of cool just to see it because it's new and shit, but it's just so unpredictable and so hard. Or even like the how you can spot through B site like down on that spot where you actually jump. Well, you can
with the catwalk like from below.
Yeah, exactly, the catwalk. That's also pretty stupid to me, honestly. It's just such a one-way angle and stuff like that. So, and just like being able to basically jump off the map and back into the map like from a non-existent like pathway. It's just, I feel like that should be removed and just completely get rid of it because I don't.
I mean, it's like it kind of fits into what Vertigo is as a map.
True.
Like
that's kind of true.
You like Valve obviously wanted something different, so they went for that. I'm not sure if the balance of like risk and reward is there. Like for matchmaking people, it obviously is because like 90% of the people will buy if they try that. But like on the pro level, when you know how to do the run both correctly, I'm not sure. Maybe it should be just a bit more difficult, or maybe if you land, it should be in a stupider position behind the wall or something. I don't know. But I like, as an idea, I like it, but maybe it's just too gimmicky for professional CS.
The thing is, right now, and people are going to state that it needs time, and obviously we'll need time to adapt into the map and stuff. But when the fights are so disjointed across the map, you could send three players A and two players B on the T side, and you could pretty comfortably almost win both of those fights, right? Yeah. Like, you don't even need the lion's share of your forces to take parts of the map. When that's the case, that's fucking ridiculous, right? The whole point is that the CTs are meant to have positions to set up crossfires, angles, like flash takes, etc., where they can fight against multiple members. The whole point of the maps that the CT is meant to be able to defend corridors. Right now, it still doesn't feel like the CTs can defend anything or take territory of anything. And I did like a longer bunch of tweets the other day on Vertigo, and it made it onto Reddit, but I think someone made a pretty egregious title with it, so it didn't get too high. Plus, all the EPL shit with Navi happened, so that kind of fucking took over all the drama on the internet for the day. So I still have to do a video about it, but hopefully, like, there's some changes there. Like Fallen said, one of the changes he thought was good. Like, it was probably one of the smaller changes, but you know, it's definitely worth continuing to try because I still think that the map has potential. I don't think it's going to be as like people are like, oh, it's just like a mini nuke. Well, it's not because it's T-sided. No. So
what it reminds me of more actually, like the original Cobble that didn't have the plats, that where you had like a direct entrance into B without having to go around like through plat. That kind of reminds me of that because their CTs just had such a massive fucking issue defending anything.
That was with, like the Shocks Epsilon beating NIP, I feel like, on that version of Cobble.
Yeah, I mean, I know
something like that.
That was like Cologne 20. Well, the first Cologne, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time, and like
a long time.
I feel like a month or something. A lot of people agree that a ramp should be a point of contention, and currently it's so T-sided that it's ridiculous just because of the timing of when CTs and Ts arrive there. So that is something, if they kind of figure that out, just allow us to actually contest for that would be okay.
I'm not sure why the gap in A side is even accessible from the other side, because I don't understand why that was made that way.
If you had to go up the ramp and then like jump up and then walk around, I wouldn't mind that. But the sandbag situation is like now there's always a pending doom.
You can jump from the sandbags though. You have to go around. You have to go like
you can boost.
You have to go to the last.
Well,
you can boost
from
though.
there, yeah.
You can boost, yeah, but you can't solo jump. You need a player around you.
You can self boost, but you have to go around basically.
You have to go like to the last part of the ramp and then go back in, which is kind of.
It's just generally way too easy to get to that spot and have the CTs just too worried about the single entrance.
I mean, like Valve's idea is obviously like give CTs a way to for just like not allow Ts to just sit on the ramp, like have some way of that being dangerous. So that hole allows the CT to theoretically peek at any time, but in practice, I think it's maybe not.
You know what it would be like if on overpass, basically you had that wooden plank That's like one of those wooden planks that are between B-side and water. Like imagine
just not be a wooden plank.
Imagine if that was open and how that would have fucking changed the overpass right there. I feel like that's the exact same situation. Oh, even worse on overpass, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same thing for me, honestly. Like if you removed that, you would just completely break B-side and CDs would have nothing to do there. And it kind of feels the same way in Vertigo.
I tested with some spawn stuff. If you make the T's spawn... Remember where they used to spawn? The old spawn for T's before Valve moved it over towards that little cutout? So if you put them on the upper platform, I know this sounds almost counterintuitive, but because they can only almost spawn like one in a line, right? In like almost like a L shape, I guess, up top, there's not much room there. If you spawn them up there, the issue, and I tested this stuff, is if you drop off, you lose 21 HP. So if you want to fast rush B or fast rush A, you have to like jump down on the stairs and then fucking parkour around so that you don't lose any HP. So you're going to lose time. If you want to go middle, you physically either have to jump down on the stairs or run around the outskirts, which gives you a very similar timing to what you had now. And I thought that one spawn change, and the reason that was good was because if it slows the T's down from getting towards both sides, the CTs could actually properly fight for map control. Like, obviously, if they push into B lobby, they're committed to that, right? So if the T's then want to do the run boost we're talking about around behind them, then that's one way they can fight them, or they can come in from either angle from that B lobby to clear out that area. Because that's like that should be map territory. You should have to fight for that, I reckon. Then over towards A, same shit. You should have to fight for the ramp control. The forklift room, ramp control, you can argue there, but I think just changing those spawns and seeing how it plays could be like a huge factor. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we're going to move forward onto the minor qualifications that have commenced. Now, are either of you going to take the mantle of this one? Anyone been paying a huge amount of attention to what's been going on?
I mean, so far it's outside of parts of Asia. I think we haven't had too much development.
I've been paying attention to the EU minor qualifier that started yesterday. I've been keeping track of that in the live post we had. I mean, a lot of teams played. Obviously, like 400 or something teams, and we were down to top 16. The most interesting teams that didn't go through, LDLC lost to a Polish mix called Denza with 4 A's at the end, from which no players. So that's kind of sad, obviously. X3D Max also lost to some mixed team. And Gamer Legion lost to Copenhagen Flames. Copenhagen Flames are actually kind of looking
decent. That's a decent team, yeah.
Yeah, in the tier 3, I'd say, in Europe. They've been looking decent, but then they lost to someone else later on, to Ago, I think, yeah. So, interesting, we have 5 Polish teams in the top 16. And Taz's Aristocracy is not there. They lost early, also to Copenhagen Flames. So, I don't know, interesting stuff. Other than that, some mixed teams. Of course, one team with some shady people involved that were banned and then unbanned or have like weird shit going on. As always, we have one of those teams in the minor qualifier.
Who is that?
I forgot what their name is, but a player called Zype and Grande and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, at least they're not sending dick pics out like the drama we had come up yesterday. That was pretty fun. That was a good read. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Anyway, so if I'm looking at this correctly, just tell me if I'm flat out wrong here. I usually am. Does this mean Gamers Legion didn't make it to the top 16?
No. Gamers Legion and Aristocracy, the Polish Taz team, lost to Copenhagen Flames, who then lost to Ago.
But Stiko made it. Stiko's there.
No Chance made it. Yes.
That's good. As long as we got Stiko and Thomas and the boys, they're out. That's all right. I'm happy with that. Sprouted through, even though it recently had a roster change. What about Pronax's team? Are they in there anywhere?
Ancient?
Yeah, but Pronax is not in that team.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah,
I don't know when that happened, honestly, but that team...
It's like all of a sudden, like, that team just changed lineups like four separate times in the last month or something, it feels like. And now suddenly not even Pronax isn't even part of that team, even though he kind of created the brand.
Yeah, it was like Ancient, it's me, Pronax, and Snyder making this team again.
Oh, there's no Pronax.
Both of them are kicked in 1 month.
Yeah, that's just a joke, honestly, that team.
I mean, now they could be good. Like Draken, Disco Doplan, Freddy B, Rusty, Plopsky. Decent Swedish team, like players.
Well, it's basically like the old Epsilon, like the core of the old Epsilon with Rusty and Plopsky.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. So
Okay.
Virtus Pro actually made it to this part. Interesting. Other than that, who do we have?
There's
Also-
the CIS stuff that's going on as well at the moment, right?
Well,
Yeah,
they-
that-
two teams already went through to the close qualifier, but it's like those are like even below top tier 3. Like outside of Prosto, who made it to a close qualifier.
Unique's been around as
Well, yeah,
well.
that's
Like
true.
they played like all of these like CIS tournaments and stuff, and some open qualifiers. They always get to HLTV matches and then lose. It's like, okay.
I'm just looking at the names here. Right? We got Windstrike Vega. We've obviously got Nemiga, Spirit, Force. This is pretty much obviously no Gambit because I don't think we touched on that. But that roster is now no
Like
longer a team.
on hold, I think they.
Yeah.
On hold. What?
Yeah. Well, Dozier is doing a car detailing and cleaning company, so I'm pretty sure his career is probably done. I think that Old Mate Mo, and then who else was the other player I'm thinking of here?
Mir is there.
Oh yeah, Mia with almost a Kirby level of fucking decision making has to that must fucking suck. Like Mia was the best player. What was it? Vegas Squadron he was in?
Yeah, Vegas World.
Yeah.
2016 to
He was like the best
2017.
player in that team, and then he went to Gambit, which obviously on paper seems like an upgrade, and he just has to join the fucking shit show of a circus that team's been for the last year and a half since they won the major. It's like, what the fuck happened here? So they don't even have a team.
I'm sorry. Just one thing that actually went through already to the minor is is Alpha Red, who won the SCA qualifier against Boot actually, who would probably in most people's eyes would be a favorite to go through from that.
They
qualifier. So
they
Alpha
are
Red-
not, and
Well,
they
not
should
anymore, I
not
guess.
be.
Yeah, not
Like
anymore.
Boot literally changed 17 players in the last 3 months. Not
I'm just
17,
saying, like
but-
from a perspective of somebody who doesn't really know what's going on in that that region. Alpha Red, but have been recently kind of winning a lot of these like qualifiers and stuff like that. And this one is another one. So Asia Minor already has one team, and I
mean-
think we're gonna get a second one today from from the MENA region, which is like that close qualifier is coming into an end. Like
What do we
at
feel
some
about
point tonight.
MVP now? We're gonna see them very soon, right? It's like,
MVP you're talking about?
Yeah, Koreans. I don't know. I'm not sold on. They have so like up and down performances online, on LAN as well. Just I'm not sold yet. I'm like not excited about
'Cause-
them. Actually, that's the term.
well, like Stax and Zeta seem like legit players, right? Like they seem fucking pretty good. I think that I don't know. I guess it's a fact that they still really don't get to play on the high level all the time. Probably the same issue if you look at like a Tai Lu or whatever.
But it's their fault they don't get to play on it because they play qualifiers and then lose to Lucid Dream. Like how can you
you're right.
lose to Lucid Dream and then Lucid Dream doesn't go on and beats everyone. They lose to to Boot Dreamscape in the next. They're just Boot now.
Yeah,
It's
so
just-
they're
so
failing. They're failing the first hurdle, really.
Yeah, and then they lose to Tai Lu and other teams in the like ESL Pro League qualifiers. So like you have to find some consistency to then consistently go overseas and then get that experience. Like what Greyhound are doing now. Like they're just been wrecking everyone domestically, going out, getting some like exposure, some experience, and then again wrecking people domestically, again qualifying.
Okay, well, we got to remember we're on a quicker time schedule. I completely forgot. Tuesday has to go and clean his Tesla. So we're going to move on to the next
He wishes,
item of
man.
business here. It's EPL and Navi, and you already heard me jokingly touch on it, but I was there live to see all the action unfold, and all of you Reddit morons making threads like free simple after they lost that series didn't watch any of the previous matches that they played. They also lost the opening series of the tournament that they came into where simple actually didn't play
Surprising.
well at all. So yeah, exactly right. That's
Pretty
the thing.
simple.
The thing is,
Just what-
people make obviously Simple's a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong by any means. Like he's the best player in the world. But in the opening game that they lost, which put them in a position where they was do or die against Heroic on the last day, he was not himself. He did not play up to the Simple level of Counter Strike that we're used to. Zeus was the second highest rated player for Navi over those 3 maps. And you go back and you watch that demo, Zeus was hitting some fucking bangers of shots. Like I'm like legit shots. Like Zeus was playing good CS. When they lost to Heroic, that never should have happened. Anyway, boys, take it away.
I mean, you're gonna be the one who knows the most about this, but still, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think anymore. But this is actually something that I mentioned last time, where it just like if Navi actually doesn't improve with all of that they're planned, trying to get in that Astralis kind of mentality. Sorry, get a psychologist and all those things that they were planning to do. I don't know how much, like, at which stage they are in that progress, but I imagine it has already started, and they're already trying to get on like a Astralis type schedule, considering they've already started skipping events and trying to get a little bit more prepared for each event. Yeah, it's not like I expected that to work and them to suddenly like overtake Astralis and be the best team in the world and stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't really bode well that they didn't even make it to Pro League finals against teams that they should have beaten on any day, really.
I don't know what happened. And the best thing about this is they skipped a bunch of events, and now they only have one event left, which is ESL1 Cologne, and maybe LA if they play LA. Probably, I think we expect them to play LA, but that's not like a super sick event, and that's it until the major. So literally 2 events.
Yeah, so they have an entire June off.
Here's my take on it. When those rumors came out on Reddit of like Na'Vi practicing with Boomich, does anybody use their brain at all? What are the chances that Na'Vi, after having probably one of their most catastrophic losses in recent history, which has now forced them to sit on the sideline for the better part of a month and a bit, would go, oh yeah, we better go home and practice? Like back in the day when I used to play LANs and we'd finish and we had lots of time off for the next one, the last thing I'm doing is going home and playing more CS. I'm taking like the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, maybe even the Thursday off, and then I'll start playing CS on the weekend again. I know these guys are professionals and it's a lot different from when I was playing to now when they're playing, but there is no way in the world that Na'Vi are going home. You saw Simple playing fucking Fortnite last night. What does that tell you? Tells you the cunt knows that he's got a long break ahead of him. He's in no rush to be sitting there grinding the CS. Take some time, relax, take a deep breath.
Although fucking Simple is also the guy who literally streamed the same dates, the night that he lost the Face of Major final. So it's like, you have to also consider what kind of guy he is. But the team as a whole, I agree 100%. They should just take a few days off, figure out what the fuck to do.
And the thing is, I saw them after they lost, right? And like not immediately after, I'm talking like hours after they lost. And Na'Vi are looking within their unit more social with each other than I have ever seen before. And I'm
really
almost like they were all hanging out in the lobby, like at midnight. I was like, this is wild. I thought they'd all be emo in their rooms and shit. They're all hanging out. They're all having a good time. They were laughing, talking. I can't speak Russian, but
man. Let's hang out at our last tournament together. Let's have some beers. Let's go.
See, like people in chat, like Plop444 says, but then why were they playing with Boomich? You don't actually have any proof other than a screenshot, which could be doctored by some like.
Or it could just be somebody playing with Boomich's name and just like
it could be
trolling
old.
People literally.
There's literally not a single bit of evidence from a screenshot along those lines where you would consider it to be like legitimate. And that's what I'm saying. There would have been, this could have been before. You know, there might have been a period of time before where they were trying something, but I don't think now. I think the thing is with Na'Vi and their current situation with Zeus, what we've heard about Zeus, since the induction of Blade, this is going to be it. They're going to run with this until the major. Do or die. If they win, they win. If they lose, I think that's it. I think this is the swan song for the boys. I think this is their like last ditch attempt at seeing what they can get done with this team. Obviously, trying this whole new system. They have a shitload of time right now to integrate that system, right? And they're only going to have one big event before they actually play it. So we'll see what happens, because I don't think they're going to make a roster change before
the major.
Before the major, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
The reason I think they could be is, I mean, sources as in Overdrive, the legendary CIS. I don't know what to call him, honestly. Like, he's not a journalist. He's just a guy.
Moneybags.
Yeah, he's a lot of things. He is a personality, let's say. He did, and like recently, he has been putting out like some info recently that was legit. So I believe this can be legit as well, saying that Na'Vi are looking into Boomich, but they're also looking into other players, even though Boomich is like the highest on that list. Which, for me, that sounds reasonable. Doesn't mean they already practice with them.
Maybe that's curious, by the way, because Boomich is now leading win streak, right? So, like, potentially could we be, if that is the case, I'm just saying hypothetically if that was true, it could actually be a replacement for Zeus. But at the same time, I'm not even sure that Boomich is like a massively like experienced in game leader. He probably isn't because he only started in game leading basically like before Katowice, I think. So yeah, that's probably what I would be looking at. That it would be a replacement for Zeus, and then you would imagine there would be some other replacement for Edward. Maybe somebody like Someday.
I'd be getting Someday, yeah. 100%.
Fucking, that must be the primary target for them.
Kickert as well from Avantgarde.
Oh yeah, that's another possibility. Or even fucking Jame and just let Simple run around with.
I don't think
that's just
watching Jame play. I feel like he has a lot of freedom on that team. Obviously, calling. I think if they didn't change it again, but I think he's still calling.
Isn't Sanji calling now? Isn't that why they brought him in?
It should be Sanji, yeah. I think
so.
I'm pretty sure that is.
Either way, he has a lot of freedom on that team, and I'm not sure how that would work with Simple. Like, obviously, I mean,
if you want to change phase, just fucking go ahead, right? Because Zeus, Navi have always been like super structured. Well, not necessarily structured, I guess, but really super slow and trying to like strategical. So just like to change phase, they might as well just go ahead and just let Simple and Jame run around and do shit.
But Jame doesn't run around; he just sits.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And waits. And that I feel like there would be a clash there, and maybe it wouldn't work out. But obviously, he's a good player. He can change his style. Simple can adapt. They can all adapt to one another. It's not Simple from 2016 from Liquid, where he was like bullying Kusta or JDM or whoever, taking the op over them, Adren, whoever was there. So, but at the same time, you should probably give the op to Simple, and sometimes, and just like it's justified to give him the op and let him just run around and do shit. So that would probably affect Jame because Jame just ops all the time and saves all the time, so he can op all the time. So I don't know. I'm not really sold on that. Rather have them get like riflers and have Simple continue with this, even though it might be a good idea to change, but it's like riskier.
I don't know. I feel like this is like the best chance for them to kind of get away from Simple and main opping and just having be secondary and literally pick it up whenever he feels like it. And then just run around with an AK because his playstyle literally just like is so much better sorted to a rifle than an op, which like sure he somehow makes it work with an op, which shouldn't even work that way because he's the fucking best player we've ever seen play. But imagine if we had an AK and he kept doing that with that word, which is obviously a lot more consistent. But
what do you guys put, like what percentage would you put on a roster change happening between now and the major or now in Cologne for Na'Vi? Striker, what do you reckon?
I would give it like a decent 40. I would still assume they wouldn't change before then, but I guess there's a decent chance, yeah.
Striker? Prof, sorry? Fuck, no, I'm coming big. I have Alzheimer's, I swear.
Let's give a 51%, just slightly.
Wow, okay. So, wow. All right.
So edging towards probably, yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go with a really low 5% chance.
When is the roster lock for the major?
I think Fuck, I knew this. I forgot. Shit. Somebody told me this.
It is public. It is public. It's in the rule set that started.
Yeah. I think it's
bravely announced.
I think. Is it? No, it couldn't be August 1st. I feel like that's a little bit. No, actually,
that's
it could
pretty
be.
late, August 1st.
It is before the minors, right? Before the minors.
So
that's
like
true. Yeah, so
mid July.
Yeah, probably after
July. Yeah, or before Cologne. July 1st is before Cologne.
Yes.
I feel like it was at the beginning of the. I knew this.
I think it was a first, so it might.
I feel like it might have been July 1st. Yeah.
So they have a month. Yeah, I think it's possible.
Okay, so that's like there's still plenty of time to work things out if they wanted to make a couple of changes there. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about regarding Na'Vi?
Maybe just EPL, touch on like the NA side. Cloud9 qualified, Ghost didn't.
Sure.
I don't know where we're going to put in Ghost because they played everywhere, but I guess we can touch on it now. Considering they went to DreamHack, didn't have their full 5, went to LA where they played 2 tournaments at the same time, which is kind of shit, and I think it's just like you're a small team, so you have to accept invites, and then at the same time you just like jeopardized both tournaments and didn't really do anything at both of them, which is like sitting on 2 chairs. At least we say that in Croatia. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that. That's also like a German saying.
Yeah, so in the end you didn't do anything, which is kind of shit for them, because I think they should be in the position to beat the current Cloud9, and they were kind of close. But they didn't. So in the end, they didn't. They're not qualified. And before that, the same day, they played four LAN matches, 4 maps. at CS Summit, then went over to the Pro League, wherever the venue is, to the studio, and then played a best of 3 there, which is like playing 7 maps against 3 different opponents, plus traveling from one event to another. I think that's just like, you can't play your best CS. I think if they just play ESL Pro League, I think they probably have that enough to beat Cloud9 there.
I agree. I think that the thing for them is, though, all their Christmases came at once, in the sense of, like, for Ghost, they're not getting the opportunity to attend as many events as what a Cloud9, well, maybe a Cloud9 of old would have been, for example. So for them to have all these opportunities, obviously they wanted to take as many of them as they could, and probably overloaded their plate a little bit. I want to give,
Is there any chance you're looking through the rules or something? Because I hear you scrolling, and I'm actually doing the same thing, like going through the rule book of the major.
I'm not. I scroll. I just transit Reddit to see if anybody says anything completely and utterly ridiculous, so that I can jump on them and make them feel horrible about themselves.
Because I'm just trying to track down like when so we can just like get some
definitive sort of answer. Yeah. I want to give like props to Steele, who when I watch him play within this team, obviously Steele is a guy who came from Source, and then he was in the early days of CSGO, and then obviously we all know the drama that happened with him and the other North American players. But for him to stick with it, after, like, he did have a decent hiatus, right? Like, he didn't, keep grinding Counter-Strike within teams the entire time. He plays a very modern game of Counter-Strike, and he actually, puts numbers up. So props to that guy for being, now he's part of the aging generation of CS players. I think he's same age as me, so he's 30 this year, and he's still playing a very, I guess, admirable version of Counter-Strike. So
got it.
It's good shit.
So it's 25th of June that they have to submit. That's for everybody at the minors and the major. 25th of June is the deadline.
Yeah,
which
is exactly a month.
Pretty damn early.
Yeah,
I mean that's 2 months before the major starts. Basically,
my reasoning why I give it, just going back to the Navi thing, and then we can go back to Steel, so we can finish this off. I think like replacing Edward is fairly easy, and I think that's why. I don't think they're going to change Zeus for sure. So I think Edward has the opportunity. Like, if you can find someone to replace him, that is not that difficult. But from the personal side, and I feel like Navi have a lot of commitment to him as a player, as like he's been there for forever, except that like small period with the
started Dragons period. Yeah, we all forget about that.
But he was like ejecting pretty fast from that, like going back. Let's play with Seized, who was at the time actually a good player. But yeah, I think they want to give him a chance to win a major or something. So, and after that, pull the plug on it.
It would honestly make a lot of sense for them to change now, though, because like, is there ever a better time for them than now that they basically will skip on several tournaments, have a month and a half to prepare with the potentially new roster, or like month and something before Cologne, and then they will get to play a big event before the major, so that they figure out how the new roster works. I actually think it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. It would be hard to make an argument against them making a change, so I'm going to attempt it. I honestly think that a lot of stock, the organization, exactly like what Prof just said, they're going to put into the likes of Zeus and the likes of Edward for, being with them for such a long period of time. And I also don't think that the results that they showed at Pro League is the results that Navi can show. I think that the team, from what I've been watching recently, for whatever reason, I'm much more impressed with their team-based Counter-Strike than I think I have been at any point before. Now, maybe it's just because everybody else is fragging, and I don't know how that... Look, Counter-Strike at the moment, in my mind, I don't like how close every single game is. I hate the fact that every single match seems like it's a 16-14, 16-13, some bullshit like that. I think that's fucking ridiculous, that every single game now is... That does not, in my mind, attest to how close teams are in terms of ability. That, in my mind, attests to how shit these fucking economy changes have been. Now... we can do that for days. I can talk about that bullshit for days. But I think Na'Vi, one of their strongest strengths was the fact that they could reset teams and build massive rounds off of like keeping their foot on the throat, eventually winning a round and breaking their economy and then snowballing from that point. You can't snowball anymore. The entire way that Na'Vi like had their best approach to the game has been taken away with this economy change, right? So I think that with the month and a half, or they might be able to adjust their style because they have to. You naturally have to. And they still have some of the best players in the world, right? Flamey's been a little bit better recently. I think Simple and Electronic are obviously Simple and Electronic. There's no way you can argue that Zeus and Edward haven't been contributing more because I just look at the stats and they are like obviously not consistently, but they are. So I think that they'll give him. This is why I think they'll go one more shot at the major. Just give him one more crack, and then like at this point you're committed. Like why not? Just fucking see it out. Who cares at this point? If they didn't change it after the last one, I don't know why they're going to change it now. Like, yeah.
Fair.
I'm just saying it makes
back?
a lot of sense
Okay.
for if they wanted to make changes, this would actually be a pretty good time.
Can we go
Alright.
back to Steel? Just
Yeah,
for
go
that?
for it.
Yeah, go steal,
I-
etc.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I like everything you said about him as a player, as a leader. I think he's like a very, very good one, and just like overall, his value would be much larger if he was not obviously Valve banned, which makes any top 10 team just like a big no-no, and a lot of players that want to be in a top 10 team then don't want to play with him because they're obviously limited in terms of majors. But I think he does good work. I just think like some of the players in that team, their individual decision making is just not good enough for them to be a better team.
Sure.
Like specifically, I think Wardell hasn't been currently that good, but obviously had great peaks and still has. Steel individually also does good. Like Freakazoid is there like a role player, so it's Kusta and Neptune that yeah, I don't know. It's just whatever. Especially
Neptune
Kusta.
specifically for kind of the hype that he received at the start when he got into this team, I feel like he hasn't delivered at all.
Yeah, I think that they have some weak links there, that's for sure. And I think maybe when I was watching the Summer stream yesterday, they were asking some questions to Steel about like what's the difference between Ghost and Liquid, and basically they said it was like the way that I read between the lines was it's about the way that people are applying themselves to actually learn and get better and stuff. I
like that talk actually. That was a pretty insightful thing, even though he never said anything about his team specifically.
Yeah. So I think like you look at all these bits and pieces, obviously changes have to happen, but I think for Steel, the best thing he could possibly do, and I know that a lot of teams and players probably don't want to play in his team because they can never play at a major, which is most people's dreams, but if he can make the best of a bad situation and play with players who want to be third or fourth best North American team, not third or fourth best in North America, because obviously if Renegades there might be out there, but if they could be like, if it honestly went Liquid, NRG, and then Ghost, and Ghost were like able to take maps off the other two, if you could push to be like the best possible team you could with whatever's left over, you're making a pretty good case for yourself. Especially like imagine if like people, this is like living in a faraway land right now. I don't even know why I'm going down this rabbit hole. Imagine if he like just got some prodigies that came up, like some fucking youngsters that appeared from nowhere, and he picked them up, and his team was like the best North American team somehow. Like they were just so good, and they could never attend a major. Then maybe his issue might get readdressed by Valve or looked at. Surely it would have to, right? Like if ever that was to happen, obviously that's.
I don't think
so. Happen, but
I don't think so. Yeah.
You don't think they care?
I don't think. No, I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't think they care how competitive a person is. They that's not their core values about why they ban these players and stuff like that. They don't care about how much he brings to the community or anything like that. Obviously, because they've just made a pretty fucking definitive decision. I would be very surprised if they ever went back on that decision, especially after how long it's been. It's just been too long.
But why is Team Queso not banned from Valve majors?
And I didn't even read into that bullshit.
I mean, I guess that's
it's just like TLDR.
It's a little bit different though.
No, I'm obviously
just to put context on this for people who didn't follow the news. Queso threw a group stage match to avoid like a bad matchup in the playoffs, which is obviously very different to throwing a match for like betting purposes or anything like that. And it definitely happens like more. Yeah, exactly. It definitely happens, even though it's not proven. People definitely don't care in certain matches when they know if they lose, they will get a better matchup next time. Like that's just how it goes. That's unfortunately like human nature as well. Like you're not gonna want to try your absolute hardest when you know it's gonna be easier if you don't.
It's just round robin issues once again, and also them being dumb enough to use like Team Say to talk about the going rounds, and then getting caught on like the record.
Would you say Team Say? By the way? Why would you use Team Say? Like you have fucking TeamSpeak and everything. Like why?
Because maybe someone was playing. You know, when you're playing a game and someone is in a clutch, then you want to talk but not talk at the same time. So you just use Team Say.
But I mean, if you're throwing the badge, like why do you care?
I don't know. They obviously had to get it off. Like, it was so hard, man. I had to miss 30 bullets.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's fucking... Yeah, let's move on. Well, let's move
That's
away
a
from
rough
that.
one.
I felt like it was just funny as hell.
Right, we're going to move on to the next topic, which we are now talking about the ECS conclusion, obviously before the finals, which are just in 2 weeks, not very long from now.
11 days.
Yeah, so that's going to come around before we know it. So the final team to qualify from the North American region actually came down to the final, which was cool. It was between MIBR and Liquid, which was kind of nice. Obviously, we could put Liquid in a similar boat as the boat we were just putting Ghost in terms of all the matches, having to travel back and forth. But they didn't have to travel because they were playing from online. But they still had to play multiple matches within that same day. So they're obviously going to be frustrated with not qualifying for that one. Maybe it's a godsend considering what we were talking about with their schedule before. But good stuff for MIBR. They'll be there in the finals. And from the European region, it turned out a little bit messier. NIP fucked up, and that meant that Fnatic had to beat Avantgarde, or Avantgarde couldn't go any further.
Well, they couldn't have won, basically. I think Avantgarde just needed not to win for NIP to go through.
Yeah.
So
but it was funny because initially there was that thing that NIP was announced after the 4th week. NIP won, and they were announced as they qualified because Avantgarde wasn't. They are not a part of ECS, so they were the Pinnacle Cup team, and they weren't the first or something in the line. So Force was supposed to play, but then Force pulled out, and then Avantgarde got the spot. So then again, Avantgarde had a chance. So NIP had to fight for the spot again. And then the cup started, and NIP lost first, to Optic in the first match. So essentially, it was all on Avantgarde to win out, and if they would have won the cup, they would have qualified. But they actually lost to Fnatic, so Exist helping his former team to qualify.
Not sure how I feel about that decision, by the way, to invite back at a point where it was all announced and everything that the NIP are through. There's just no other way. I feel like
it's not up to them. It's like they put the rules together, and if 4 is pulled out, then they had to invite next in line, and next in line was Avantgarde.
Okay, fair enough.
So just so everybody can understand, this is how all the qualifications went. Astralis won week 1 Europe, North week 2 Europe. Then we had Vitality week 3 Europe, and then the 4th team from Europe, as we just talked about, was NIP. Over in the North American side of things, in week 1, it wasn't Complexity, but didn't they take Rogue's spot or something?
Yeah, it was Rogue, but the Rogue Complexity then got 3 people out of Rogue, so it's like...
No, it's just
they died, right? Rogue died,
yeah, they died.
Complexity were in the final.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm sorry.
Nico and MSO went back to Optic. Then NRG came through week 2, and then Furia was week 3, and then obviously MIBR coming through in that final slot. I'm going to make a bold statement. You guys ready? Are you sitting down? Everyone,
I think
comfortable. If Astralis do not win this event, I would be more than happy to say that the Astralis era is over.
If Astralis don't win ECS,
they have to win this event. They have to win.
When you look at the field, and I at the start of the year when I had the major, and I thought that MIBR would be one of the teams to contest Astralis throughout this year, and I still stand by that. But considering how weak the rest of the field is in comparison, there's no Na'Vi, there's no Ents, there's no fucking Liquid. That's 3 of the biggest competitors out there for Astralis are not at this tournament. If they do not win this event, there's not another team here that should seem even remotely scary for them. So if they do not win this event, I Chad Sponge Birchall, declare from my perspective that the Astralis era will be over. All right, we'll turn the podcast off now. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Theoretically, there's only one team that could beat them, and that's MIBR. No one else historically, North beat them with MSL, but that's that team is not this team. So none of these teams have any history of beating this Astralis team. So it's literally only MIBR that could beat them. So they're essentially playing one team at this event, which is not that good. They have some ups and downs. If they're on the upswing, which they currently, they've been looking decent online in these matches that they've been playing at the ESL Pro League as well. But still, they're not even a top 5 team. Maybe they're 5th. Where are they?
Who? MIBR? 6th.
MIBR. Yeah, Fnatic
they're definitely on the come up, right? But the thing is, it's the disparity. If Astralis shouldn't struggle, right? They shouldn't struggle, and I'm not meaning against MIBR. I'm meaning against the field. If they meet MIBR in the final and it's a 3 mapper and it's a fucking blockbuster, they should still win. They're taking all this time off they should still win. And the reason that I want to, like, I think this should be the case is because someone in chat actually made a very good point. They said this is lose-lose for Astralis. Because if they don't win, we're like, well, Astralis era is over. If they do win, we're like, well, there's no other top 5 teams there anyway, so we expected you to win. So they're in a really shit position right now, almost of their own doing in some regard. But I think that considering the length of time it's been, it needs to expire. Like, if you're not playing and winning a tournament every so often that's considered a certain caliber, then you're not doing anything. And we're not the same as like UFC, for example, or other stuff. But like in UFC, if you don't fight because you're injured or you take an extended period of time off for whatever reason, they'll have an interim belt, right? They'll have someone else come in, like 2 people come in, and they can fight for it and they can get that #1 title. Obviously, and I agree with you, Prof, because you made this statement on Twitter, I think, that we wouldn't consider Liquid the #1 team in the world unless they were able to beat Astralis. But I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that the Astralis era of their dominance and being like so good, in my mind, would come to a stop if they're unable to win this event. They're still the best team, but their era is done. And now it's more murkier water between who is actually going to be the next dominant team. Like, they can start a second Astralis era if they do it again, but I think like this would be like the bookmark in where we would have to stop it. Close the chapter and maybe get ready to reopen another one if they're able to go on another streak after for Cologne and all that kind of shit.
I guess it depends on the definition of an era, right? I don't think, like, at the same time, like, if you think about it, they haven't won the last 2 events, so that would have been 3 events in a row that they haven't won. 2 of which that I imagine they would have been in the final. So that's actually kind of comparable to Fnatic when they started losing to TSM at one point. Before they started, they won like more events after that. In 2015, was it 2015? Yeah.
But look at it this way: if they don't win ECS, so their next tournament, ESL Pro League, let's say they win ESL Pro League. That's been 3 months between those events. 3 months without a single title. How can that be the best team, era, whatever? Like 3 months without a title.
Yeah, but I mean, if they just simply go back, like, nobody's going to look back at those 3 months and say, yeah, they were shit at that point. Like, nobody's going to care about like 3 events that they didn't win if they just continue and end the year with like another 5 to 10 titles, whatever. Like, nobody's going to say like their era ended here and they started there. Like, in that
there's going to be an asterisk about the whole thing.
I honestly don't think so.
For general history, for like the pundits, for the Astralis fans, there's not going to be a single fuck given. No. But for like me, I'm going to give a fuck.
Aren't you?
I'm going to care.
Like, I mean, I understand why. It's just like a 3-month period where a team just like hits a little bit of a low, like not even probably
like
low.
The Fnatic
finals.
The Fnatic Dennis fucking lineup was the best in the world because they won 6 events in 3 months. Literally, that's the era of that team.
But that's the thing. Like, but that I'm not sure if you can call that an era of him when it's like that was. I'm talking about an era of Fnatic, which like
I know what you're saying, but like a team can rise up and dominate within 3 months. And then this team did not win anything with those 3 months. So someone else was the best team within those 3 months. Let's say if Liquid win a couple of tournaments, why is this the 3 months not the Liquid era? Let's say they win Summit in Dallas and Sydney.
That's why I'm saying, like, that depends kind of on your definition of an era, because like 3 months to me, I don't think that really.
I don't think it's an era in the term of like SK is also kind of murky, but like NIP or the Fnatic. Pronex, whatever the thing. But these 3 months are a significant portion of time. You can't just ignore it and say like, oh, this didn't happen. Like, no one cares.
I'm not saying it.
No one cares about these tournaments.
I just don't think that in the grand scheme of things, like, people would care about like a 2-month period where Astralis didn't win an event when they just literally won 5 before and 5 after. Like, they're still going to be considered like the best team of 2018 and 2019, and they will be considered to have an era during the entire time. Like, nobody's going to care about 2 months out of those 2 years.
Well, it depends on what we do. I'm saying. Like, if we start shit talking about it, then people will care because that's how it works.
True. Right? But just kind of a forced way to do it, though.
If they lose here, don't you consider that like a pretty big blemish? Because like they lost Blast, if they lose this, the events that they're going to, they're losing. It's not like it's not like they went, all right, guys, we're going to go to Hawaii for 3 months and just fucking live on the beach and not play any CS, right? And then we go, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Like, and then Liquid are winning all the tournaments or Ents are winning all the tournaments. They're still competing, whether it be a lot or a little, and losing, right? They're losing. The events that they're going to, the fact that their whole mantra is prioritizing enough time to, prepare properly and all this stuff that they talk about. If that is your mantra and you're still coming in and losing as the number one team in the world, who no doubt in my mind have revolutionized the way that Counter-Strike is being played on the top level. If you're still coming in and losing when you only have that level of event with that level of opponent to prepare for, what the fuck is your excuse then? Like, I'm not saying they make excuses, but what? It's just, oh yeah, it wasn't a good day. Well, you can't say travel because you're only traveling to the UK. You can't say you didn't have enough time to prepare because you've had a shitload of time to prepare. You have to start looking at it. Like, I get what you're saying. If they just win, if they win Cologne, if they win the major, if they win fucking, I don't know, let's say they go to New York, if they win like 2 Blast events, if they win the Blast final, if they win the next Masters, whatever. If they go through and they win all those, sure, they're fucking sick again. But right now, if they lose this, they're not sick at the moment. They're feeling unwell, but they're not my 16-year-old version of the term sick that I used when I was a cool little observer.
My entire argument was just against the definition of an era, and you saying that would have just ended their era right there. I wouldn't have considered that probably. As long as they obviously come back to their former level right after, like I don't think it would
Striker
really
is an
affect things
Astralis
too much.
fanboy,
and we can continue with the next topic.
HLTV is a Danish website, blah blah blah.
HLTV is a Danish website.
So here's the thing: me and Prof aren't getting paid this week, but anyway, we're moving forward. We're going to move forward to Summit. Prof, do you want to quickly gloat about the fantasy, and then we'll get into the real talking?
I mean, I'm not going to gloat yet because it's not done, and we have a semi-final and grand final yet.
You're so ahead that I don't see a way where you don't win.
I'm like
especially with the players that you have.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What are you?
Continue.
Well, with the players that you have,
I just said I have 400 points ahead of you.
400 points. Yeah, you got exactly. You have 400 points on me, and I thought I did really well. I was like, I forgot to check it completely, like during the entire summit, and then I realized it like I think yesterday evening. Or like, well, basically like this morning, because that's when I went to sleep. And I just checked the standings. I'm like 660 points. Fucking hell, I must be first. No, Prof is fucking 450 points ahead.
I don't understand how I'm at minus 72. Like, how the fuck have my players shut the bed? I thought I had a good team.
I also thought
you have Elige and Stewie. Okay, I guess.
Unlucky for Steel. Like when we were picking the players, we didn't think about the whole Ghost situation, about them playing EPL at the same time, which is something we should have considered, but we just forgot.
I didn't care. I was like, Wardell is the only one who can get me any points out of that team, most likely. So
Steel can also frag.
I think this will take us into the discussion quite nicely because there is no doubt in my mind that Vitality have overperformed. Like, I'm not saying I don't think Vitality are a good team. I'm all about the fucking Frenchmen. But the fact that they went 9-1, only losing a map to
8-2. I'm sorry. No, they lost the last map to. Wait, they lost the Renegades then afterwards as well. Like the last map, that didn't matter at all. Like that changed nothing.
Okay.
So they lost the second map later.
Well, we have a tweet that is going to come up in a second, I assume.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to pause the whole discussion, but it comes up,
when it comes up, I'm gonna say something about.
I'm gonna say something first.
Okay, so just to go through this, just so we can catch everybody up before this tweet happens, this was a round robin thing where they played everybody twice. So there's a lot of matches played. It was almost like a mini boot camp. Renegades won 2 games, lost 8. They had Smooth standing in. Ghost, they won 3, lost 7. Ents came in 4th place. They won 5, lost 5. Every single one of their series went 1-1. Liquid was 6-4. NIG was 6-4. So they were in the same position. But I think NIG go through in second because of round difference.
No. I don't think there's no round difference or anything like that. I don't even know who's second or third because I don't care. Like they obviously play each other anyway.
Yeah.
There's like the first tiebreaker is results against each other, which are 1-1. There's no round difference as a second one. There's like the Sonneberger, what the fuck is it called? Well, the sum of your opponents wins.
Who won? Yeah, who won?
Well, not
the
the
teams
sum of
against
opponents.
who they won
Oh,
against.
okay. It
Yeah,
breaks
yeah.
down to smaller groups and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that ended up because I didn't, like I said, it doesn't even matter who ended up second or third in this. Nothing changes. So it's like they were basically equal.
Okay.
So our producer fell asleep. So I'll just quote and talk about the
There we go.
NBK tweet.
It's up now.
NBK tweet. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, NBK, I'll take it out of context just for my personal
Thank God. I was going to say, because I figured I was going to have to put it back in context.
This group stage means fuck all. That's it. He agrees that this group stage format
That's just
is
so
shit.
fucking insanely
And that
context and out of character, by the way.
everything else is unimportant. NBK agrees. Tournament format for the group stage. Shit.
So just to put it back in context for
There you
all of
go.
the users
Go
who
for
probably don't speak English as a native language, what MBK is actually implying is, hey, we perform fucking sick in this group stage, but guess what? That doesn't matter because it only matters about the playoffs, guys. Let's fucking do it. That's what he actually means.
Yeah.
So Prof is merely using this to push his own agenda of hate speech. So look, we need to get Donald Trump out here
Look,
to fix that whole situation.
I'm all against round robin. I agree with that, but using this to push it is not a good way.
Look, I'm just trying out for a different website that does sensationalist esports news, so I'm just like broadening my horizons, and I think they'll like this.
TMZ for esports. That's one of my favorites. We really have to get that going on a broader scale. I heard Keemster's pretty good at talking out of his ass. So we have the highest rated players from this tournament: Zawu, Naf, Apex, Alex, surprisingly, and Cirque.
Alex blows
Suddenly.
my mind, like how he even got to that position.
Yeah, it's crazy the growth of this individual, right? And the fact is, like, he's in-game leading, from what I understand now, for this roster of Vitality. Yeah. So basically, it's difficult for us to look into too many of the best of two matches, right? We can just say who topped and who went where. That's fine. But what we have as the matches today is 1 versus 4, which will be Vitality versus Ent, which is actually a pretty exciting matchup, and Liquid taking on NRG, which is also a relatively exciting matchup, other than the fact that NRG, in my mind, don't really have too much of a good track record against Liquid. Ask that with a question mark because I need to stat check myself, but I'm pretty sure that Liquid get the better of them. Like the last time I played was Supernova Malta. Never mind.
The thing is, like, NRG and Liquid have like such a weird record against each other. NRG, I think, were up, and we were talking about this with Peter yesterday, and he brought up that NRG were up 20-17, I think, was the record that they had on Liquid, and they're actually winning in that. So that's just a curiosity, I guess. It's not definitely just implies that this is definitely not in Liquid's hands completely.
Yeah, I mean, their group stage wasn't that impressive, but at the same time, we talk about it. Like, it's not that high pressure. They also played ECS parallelly, so I don't know. I obviously will still give them the edge there, and NRG just are there to prove themselves. If they can beat Liquid, if not, it's like, okay, we did our best.
I do not think they will play Vertigo again, let me say that.
The thing is, they had stuff on Vertigo before. I heard in the post-game interview with Twist when they were talking about it, he was like, yeah, we had stuff, but then the whole map changed. So it's like, that because the vetoes were done prior to the map change, so they had already decided if they were going to play Vertigo or not coming into all of their best of twos. So I'm not saying to look at there. I think seeing if Vitality can continue that form is the biggest question mark. Obviously, we know Ents can do it now. We know Ents can compete at that level. You heard Alexi B when he came on the how much fucking Counter-Strike I watched? I meant to be having the weekend off. Anyway, Alexi B, when he was on the couch, he was saying that he felt they were making like a lot of individual mistakes. Like they were getting the openings and doing good stuff as a team on Overpass. I forget who they were playing, but then they were just kind of crumbling in the mid rounds and not really working together. And it felt something was a little bit off there. So both teams have some stuff to work on, but Vitality come into that matchup as the favorites in the group stage section. I still put Ents as my favorite, and then Liquid Ents final should be great. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I think would be the best finish, the best story for it all. And maybe I can get out of the negatives in the fantasy. Do you guys have anything to add on this one before we move on to Dallas?
I mean, there's definitely all in Vitality's hands, basically, because if they continue on that path that they were in the group stage, where they looked convincing even against Liquid and almost as much against Ents, Obviously, they ended up splitting the series, but they had a convincing overpass game against a team like Ens. That's pretty massive. They ended up losing Nuke, I think, to them in the second match, and pretty convincingly as well. But still, it doesn't seem like Vitality are completely out of contention. I actually think that they could potentially have maybe a 10% chance to win the entire event just based on what we saw in the group stage.
Be a pretty legit win for them going into Dallas, right? If
they fucking have that would be an amazing start, honestly. With Dallas, and then they have ECS as well, almost right after. So that's
we haven't seen French CS at a consistent level in some time. Actually, I don't think we've ever seen French CS at a consistent level other than 2015 with all the force buying, right? They were really competitive, obviously then.
LCZ.
And that was they were all about being able to constantly have those kind of miracle rounds. Zywoo is the highest rated player for the tournament, so he's obviously going to have to keep that up. He had some absolutely monstrous rating on a Mirage game. I remember he was just fucking ripping everybody apart. So they have to continue to have these win conditions, right? I mentioned 3 Vitality players in the top 5 of the tournament thus far. The fact that you play everybody so many times, that obviously plays into the situation that you can clearly see where the win conditions are coming from, right? So Zywoo is one, Apex, and then Alex have to be the next 2. So if they can't play even a shadow of themselves, or one of those players drops off, then Vitality are going to have a very difficult time, all things considered. But you could almost say that for any team, but I think that because they don't have the same level of experience as a roster on this level just yet, there's a lot more depth for Liquid. I think they have a lot more depth in terms of individuals. When they're going up against Ents, I don't know who's been even playing good for Ents at this event. It doesn't feel like anybody's.
It's always no one. They're always all on the kind of the same level. That's why in fantasy they're the worst team to pick. Maybe one guy like Ariel did at Blast.
Sergey and Al are the highest at this point. They're the only ones above 1.00. Sergey has 1.12 rating. Al 1.08.
Yeah, and that's
looking at Sergey, he's actually been really consistent outside of the big losses that they had to Liquid and Energy, where they only got 3 rounds in each. He has been
considering the opponents here, 1.12 for a star player isn't insane. It's just it's okay, but nothing I don't know.
Oh, it's still good for sixth highest, so I feel like that's pretty solid.
It's okay. I guess.
Basically, there's Zero and Naf at 1.20, 1.30 and 1.26, and then there's a massive drop to everybody else, basically.
All right. Well, do we have anything else we want to touch on the Summit?
I just want to touch on the Vitality leadership thing. I was spent 5 minutes trying to find the DM about NBK saying what the in-game leader situation is, because people seem to be confused about that a lot. Some people say it's Alex only on the T sides, but didn't he take over the whole thing after Star Series in Shanghai?
Well,
remember that discussion we had?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out as well. But you were the one who talked to NBK about it, I think.
There's a DM between me, Sponge, and NBK, and I cannot find it now because the Twitter app is so dog shit.
Let me see if I can find it.
But anyway, I think what NBK was saying was that he was still in charge of the project, basically, figuring out where they should. Yeah. I don't know. I guess the general direction.
Yeah, the map pool and maybe roles.
But then again, on the stream, he said NBK specifically said Alex is leading on the T sides, which just implies that NBK is still kind of directing CT. So I guess that's the deal, kind of what he had with Happy towards the end of LDLC. That was kind of the case where they kind of split the sides. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but that's what what he said implied. But that
kind of makes sense. If he comes up with kind of the game plan and idea how he wants to play on the CD side, it's not a lot of calling. It's more you focus on these areas of the maps and then react to what the other team is doing, and then you kind of figure out what the reactions are, and then in the game just go through the motions, right?
I've got it verbatim here. Well, I've got it from the source. He says, Alex is in-game leading the T sides on all maps except Inferno. This was back on the 16th of the 4th. Okay, just so everybody, things could have changed. Alex is in-game leading the T sides on all maps except Inferno, while I hold in-game leader for CT and the direction of the project in general with our coach. So I would say that Nathan is the spiritual leader, the captain, I guess. The captain, and Alex is maybe just calling the shots on the T side, the mid-round rounds, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not surprising that he's not on the T side. I'm sure we talked about this when we heard this first time. But it's not surprising Alex is not calling T sides on Inferno, considering he didn't play the map without DLC, and this is kind of his first team where he's focused on it quite a lot. So I guess that's the point of him not calling there.
We're going to move forward to DreamHack Dallas. We're going to be finishing a little bit earlier for everybody who just is joining us now. The producer, once again, has to go and clean his Tesla. So DreamHack Dallas, it's coming up in 2 days' time. It starts on Tuesday. They're going to be using the same format as the big ESL tournaments. 2 groups of 8 teams. The opening games are best of 1s. The remainders are best of 3s. The highest seeded team from that goes through. The team that comes through in first place goes through straight to the semis. And then the second and third teams from each group play off in the quarters, which goes down on the Friday. If I just want to bring up the groups, do we have them available to bring up, Mr. Lucas? Okay, we'll bring them up momentarily, but I can read through them for you guys as they stand right now. Group A is Liquid versus Lucid Dreams, Vitality versus North, FaZe versus Wendigo, NIP, and Tai Lu. And then as you head down to the next group, it is ENCE versus Isurus, Renegades versus G2, NRG versus Furia, and Fnatic versus Cloud9. Now, obviously, we are missing some very big names here. There's no Na'Vi here. There is no MIBR, and there's no Astralis. Those are pretty big omissions to be having like this, but we've basically come to terms with that. That's been happening relatively frequently at the moment. And actually, considering where a lot of the field is kind of heading at the moment, I see a lot of teams on the up and up. It's probably not going to be that bad. But initial thoughts for me, this is another tournament that Team Liquid should be taking the victory at. What do you guys think?
I guess it depends on what happens now at Summit and how that transpires. Because at this point, I'm a little bit skeptical. Just because of how slow they were on the day 2, how they lost to Liquid. Not Liquid, how they lost to Vitality and split maps with ENCE. I just felt like I'm not sure what was missing there, honestly. I feel like they were just starting slow in the days, and I'm not sure if that's down to some bigger problem or just like being, I don't know, being sleepy or whatever at the start of the day, because they are starting really early, and just that doesn't really play well with a lot of teams G2. So. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
I see the chat is trolling. If this came directly to me, I would definitely try it. Tell others you think FaZe will win and see how they react. I will not. Now it's spoiled, but it's a good joke, I must say. Peter Schmeichel.
What do we think about, like, obviously Neo has played a couple of games right now with FaZe, and their matches against Optic in ECS. If anybody thinks that was more than just practice matches for FaZe, you gotta fucking look. I got something.
They literally had nothing to win. Like they only played for like some money, which is relevant.
Exactly. For those kind of players earning that kind of money, they look. I'm sorry.
I mean, first place was 12K, I think. So split six ways is $2,000. Insane. Not insane for them, obviously.
So here we have them on screen. I guess what we could do is we could theory craft the bracket together, and we could kind of run through who we think is going to end up where. All right, let's start top down. Liquid over Lucid Dreams. Who thinks the Lucid Dreams?
Let's move on.
Okay. Vitality versus North. Now,
I also have, just regarding Lucid Dreams, there is one Twitter user that was arguing against me that the Lucid Dream spot is not wasted at this tournament. I say they do not get more than 10 rounds, like on any map, which just shows that
in
they're
total,
not.
or
just like on any map. I'm not sure who
double digits is what
they will not reach 10 rounds on the 3 maps they play, and they lose. Like the first one is best of 1 against Liquid, and then they play like a best of 3. I don't know who they're going to play.
They Vitality or North. The loser of Vitality and North, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't the brackets change around as they?
No, I think it shouldn't.
Oh, it will when the
It will later, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not like the second round is where it swaps, where the bottom will go to the top and the other way around. It should be. They should be playing against each other, no matter if they win or lose. Like those two matchups.
I've just tried to go to Liquipedia as opposed to your website. What am I doing? What have I done? What have I done? No, because Liquipedia shows where the brackets drop to. Anyway, so. The next one. Does anybody think that North can beat Vitality?
I think they can, but
I guess they can. Yeah, but I mean, based on yeah, that's true. Based on what we saw at Summit, as long as Vitality keep that up, at least like most of that form, and everybody just keeps on delivering, I feel like Vitality should have that in the bag any day of the week. Well, I mean, it's. The important part there is it's kind of a debut for Valde. Well, It is
They
a LAN
played already
debut.
a LAN. They already
Yeah.
beat Navi, Heroic,
Oh no, that's true. They
and
played the
Big,
on
so they
Stupid,
look decent at EPL.
yeah, I think the only now this is once again no disrespect to Big or Heroic. I think the only legit win was the one over Navi. The other ones, Heroic as well as North as well as Big, have all recently had roster changes, so they're still acclimatizing. North could finally have found themselves a honeymoon period with the last couple of roster changes. They didn't get a honeymoon period; they kind of just brought in a player and it kind of was average. So maybe with Yugi coming in, involved in game leading, AZ and Kirby are looking like they're having a bit more impact there. So it's possible, but I still think that Vitality at the moment are a team who is further ahead in terms of the steps. But in a best of one, that match for me would be a 50-50. But let's just, for argument's sake, let's go with Vitality. FaZe vs Wendigo. Jesus, Joseph and fucking Mary. Anyone think that Wendigo with a stand-in who doesn't speak Bulgarian has a chance?
I don't think so.
It would be difficult to see, right? It'd be very difficult to see.
I mean, it's
with,
like
with
I can see the potential just because of the context of FaZe. Just adding Neo and not looking very good online, even though we were already talking about like how much it actually meant to them. But yeah, I don't think so. Even though I can see why some people could.
And it's the best of one as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the first game of the tournament. Two potentially weird teams in a weird situation.
And you get some like
against
bullshit ships rounds pushing, getting them like catching people off guard. It's possible, but like obviously.
I'd give it maybe like 20%. Well, maybe like 30% or something like that.
Let's say
like,
that would be a bad look for FaZe with me.
Yeah,
definitely.
That'd be pretty rough.
So then the last one here, assuming FaZe win that, is NIP versus Tyloo. Now, Tyloo have lost their coach of Jonta. He's no longer with them. I was speaking with Jonta after Star Series as we were driving to the airport, and I was quizzing him a little bit at the time. And I was going to probably not say anything if he remained the coach. But basically, now that he's no longer the coach, I'm sure he don't give a fuck. The sentiment that he was giving me about Tyloo was they had their own way of approaching the game in the past, which wasn't a consistent style. And what he tried to bring to the team was a more consistent approach like the rest of the world to Counter-Strike so they can win on a consistent basis. There's no point coming in, beating NIP, but then going and losing to FaZe, right? Because if you don't have like a consistent way of approaching the game and it relies on individuals going off or like a call or here going there, you're not playing to actually be consistent. So it's going to be curious to see what style they play with now, if they're going to keep trying that hard line of being, slower, more defaulty, or if they're going to go into what was more like the Chinese style back in the day when I used to play them, which was more swarmy. They're together, they'd pounce, they'd be all over you. You'd feel like you'd cleared the site, but next minute two other cunts are flashing in through a smoke, and it never stops, right? So it'd be interesting to see what kind of style that Tyloo are going to come in here with. But I think this is another 50-50 matchup. NIP, I label them as the baseline for Counter-Strike. If you want to be a top tier team, you have to be NIP, right? You have to have the NIP base. You need to have the communication, you have the chemistry, you need to have all that kind of stuff. But there's not a player on NIP that's exciting anymore. Like, they don't have any young blood. They don't have anything along those lines which is going to like carry the
future
future
up on
of this team
Rez,
forward.
like you've been bigging up Rez like every single time
I'm
we
still
talk
on
about
Rez,
NIP.
but
And...
one man is not enough.
I mean,
like,
he's not a superstar potential
no, of course
anymore.
not. I mean, I'm just arguing against what Sponge has been kind of like bigging up for the past couple of months.
He picked him in the last fantasy lost. Like, Rez is done. He should retire. Sponge Chad Birchall.
But you know what I mean? Like, before I use the term to describe them as average, I think that's a harsh word. I think the word that's probably better suited is they're like the baseline. Because they have fantastic chemistry, communication, their mid-round decision-making, their experience, the level of the players. That's there. Like, they're there. NIP are that. Just they only have the platform. They don't have anything to go. Like, if every single player plays to the best of their ability in NIP, they're a really good team. But it's very rare to have every single player in that team play to the best of their ability. It feels like a lot of their heydays are past them. They're one of the oldest teams I think we have at the moment. Dennis, Forrest, and Get Right are all like what, 27, 28 plus?
30, Forrest, right?
And Lecro's got to be like 25 or something.
No, he's older. He's like 27 now. 26 at least.
Really?
Yeah.
He was born in 93.
Forrest is 30, Get Right is
26
or 9? 28, Dennis. Okay, I'm just going
to... Yeah, I mean, Lecro came into the scene late,
Dennis,
so that's why a lot of people...
Lecro, 21, Rez.
Lecro's breakout was when he was like 24, so that's why a lot of people thought he was younger. So yeah, they're like on the older side as a team, but it's I think I don't know. I don't know if we should even like criticize them anymore, or just accept them as
who
they are,
Yeah,
who they are, as in what you just described. They're like a good team, top 8, can make the playoffs, but can't win. So
yeah, I think
I think they probably make the playoffs here, or at least they're like top 4 in the group. Surely,
There's
like
a very good
Tyloo
shot.
has no chance. I mean, it's best of one chance, but I don't think they will win it. No.
It's like a puncher's chance, right? Like anyone can land a knockout blow, but not everyone can fucking go 10 rounds kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's this NIP beating Tyloo is safer than FaZe beating Wendigo, in my opinion.
Okay, wow.
I don't think so. Just because of
like,
Tyloo,
and also Tyloo
just
Tyloo,
going back to some like ridiculous playstyle.
That is true. Like, I want them to go back to the ridiculous playstyle, because obviously when they tried to do like classic CS with bad communication, you can't do that. So you just like. Then they lost all of that explosive, surprising aspect. So they lost their good sides, and their bad sides from before didn't improve. So they just like lost everything. It's kind of
also there's still like those rumors hanging over their heads that the titles are potentially like going to change. So there
is something though, the Dennis tweet about DreamHack, the flights and stuff. But I guess he will get there in time. I hope so. He had some like ESTA issue, wrong address or something. So he didn't get on the flight. So...
Bro, I don't know how. Obviously, Dennis is from like a country that I consider to be pretty easy to get in here. I don't know. Like, obviously, for some people, it's quite difficult. I fucking walk in. I come up to the guy at immigration. I print out my little form, and the guy's like, "Where are you staying?" Actually, the guy didn't ask me. The first guy didn't ask me anything. I got accosted by a guy when I was trying to leave with my bags. Because I had my headphones on. I walk and he stops me and goes, "Hello, sir. Where are you going?" And I was like, this. And he was like, "Oh, you have a business?" I was like, "Yeah." And that was it. Like, America, I was always so scared of coming in here, and I still kind of am, because they can just fuck your entire life up. But it's so easy to get in here for somebody from Australia. So it sucks to be the rest of the world. Hopefully you guys can get on our level eventually.
I've had no problems at all.
Maybe you guys will make it one day.
I have a Canadian passport, so I just go in as a US citizen almost. It's pretty simple.
Oh, nice. That's not bad.
Good life.
Can we bring up the next group?
Yeah,
right,
that's not the next group. There we go.
Okay, so Isurus, we saw them play at the major? At the minors? I think in the same team, the Argentinian team?
It is the Argentinians,
Yes.
but I'm not sure if they played the minor,
different team. I think was it
Sharks.
the Israeli team? Was it Israeli?
What?
Okay,
those
I don't know.
Those flags are like relatively similar. Okay, I could get it, but they fucking live
I feel
on
like,
other sides of the world.
Yeah, I know. Geography is not a strong suit of mine. Anyway, that game's a wash, and to winning that one.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, hold up! Someone said that Isurus beat Complexity, so we should really take stock in that. I want everyone to really go and watch that demo and break it down. Anyway, so Enter winning the first one. Let's get on to an interesting game: Renegades versus G2. All right. So with Grat coming in,
G2 boys.
I guess.
Okay. G2 shot the bed pretty hard recently, right?
Yeah, DreamHack didn't
That
look
was
good.
pretty bad.
And then they had EPL before that, which looked pretty good. And then before that, they had something else, which looked pretty bad. So, where do they stand?
It's just I don't know. It's just French CS, basically. Inconsistent, showing some promise, but then just falling on their face. Yeah, it's so hard to place this team anywhere at this point. But at the same time, I was talking about this when we talked about Grat getting his visa. I don't think, with how little preparation they've had with him in the past, I imagine months, then I feel like they could be a little bit rusty with him, and just like him being a little bit off. So I could definitely see G2 winning this. I definitely could see this being fairly 50-50 just because of how Renegades, what the Renegades situation has been. Normally I wouldn't say this. I would say Renegades maybe like a 70% chance of winning, but with their current status, I feel like that could be a pretty good game to watch at least.
Yeah, I think that G2 should be coming in more well prepared, like obviously. But the thing is, they only have like their map pool is very shallow. I don't think that they can take Renegades on that many things. I know, but unless they get one of the two maps that I think they feel really comfortable on, I think that they're going to find themselves in a rough spot. So the Vita Water might play a lot into that when we see it go down. They should be able to get to something that they like. NRG versus Furia. I'm actually really excited to see that one. I put a lot of stock in Furia. I think Furia are a pretty sick team, actually.
This is the start of their...
They're somehow going to get to Vertigo. I don't think NRG will let it. Just because of... I don't know. I'm sure they have other maps that they would rather play. But they both play Vertigo, clearly, from what we saw in Summit. So we could actually see Vertigo. And actually, I could see the same with Renegades and G2. Both of them play Vertigo, even though I don't think either of them particularly favor it. So that could actually even place them in playing that map.
They play a lot of Counter-Strike Furia, right? Like because they're playing in Mountain Dew League all the time. They have to play in all the qualifiers. They're still in that. Like they beat Ghost in the Cologne qualifier. They play a shitload of Mountain Dew League games. So the thing is, a lot of those are pretty close results, right? Like let me just read off some of these. Their most recent one was versus the Quest 16-13, Polar A 16-11, Singularity 16-12. They beat a team called Blitzkrieg. I know everyone's had them on the fucking tip of their tongue. 16-4.
The next one is a big one.
Angie's Big Toe. That was 16-5. They lost to Bad News Bears 16-7. They beat Mythic 16-8. Like these aren't even teams. Like no offense to those guys. They're just a bunch of dudes in a room playing Counter-Strike together. So,
they're not in the same room though.
But in the complexity qualifier, in the Cologne qualifier, they beat good names, well-known teams, right? They beat Envy, they beat Complexity, they beat Lazarus, and they beat Ghost. Those are all like scalps that you would probably are definitely worthwhile scalps to take. None of the big names are there because they should have already been qualified unless you're fucking Liquid. But yeah, that's pretty good from Furia there in that regard, and that's why I'm excited. Also by their approach to the game, I really like nerding out on watching the strats and stuff that they bring here. I'm gonna have to stay with NRG. Actually, no, fuck it. Let's throw a curveball. Let's throw Furia in. I'm gonna put my hat in the Furia ring.
Yeah, I think they'll come in prepared for them. Also, like when you're talking about these online matches, it's like ESCA, Mountain Dew League, where they are like big favorites. People are probably kind of semi-preparing for them, and they are not preparing for anyone. And they're playing 3 matches on the same day. Like they have no idea what they're gonna play. Like they're not going into the games like, okay, let's go through our smokes, let's go through our executes, let's get like completely prepared for the game. They're just coming in and literally scrimming probably against these teams because they, unlike like let's say ENCE, they did not pull out of Mountain Dew League and they played a lot of these other things, so they have to get on track with the schedule so they can actually go into the playoffs and potentially go into pro.
Look how sick Furia looks just because of those teams that they play. Just looking at the map win stats, it's like they have 80% win rate on 4 different maps.
I mean, they are
win rate on 4 different maps, and
they are making
the other ones are like 60%.
Making research on Furia more difficult for the top teams. It's I can't wait for like someone to lose to them and say like, we had no demos to go on. We had no way to research where they're literally playing 700 maps in a month.
How come DreamHack?
They've played already 130 maps since this 12 in 2019.
I've just realized that DreamHack are still doing the grand final as a best of 3.
Oh,
is it on a different day? What's the schedule? I don't know.
It is.
They've always done best of 3. So
yeah, but aren't they using the ESL?
They are using the same ESL format, yeah.
Except the best of 5, which means DreamHack best organizer, prof approved.
But what are they going to do on the Sunday?
I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of a show match before. I don't know.
There's also, take into account, this isn't DreamHack Masters Dallas also kind of like a DreamHack Open event in terms of they have a lot
of games. Yeah.
They have a lot of different shit going on, like a festival thing, and they also have like a metal band, I think Trivium or something, playing like a concert. It's like a lot of shit was going on, so I guess they're gonna be making that a whole thing.
It's a shorter workday for me, so let's look at the positives here. Okay, so we have one more game left, and that's Fnatic versus the dumpster fire of Cloud9. Still burning strong.
Burning the keyword being there. Yeah,
I think that Fnatic should take this one if it was a best of 3, but in a best of 1, I genuinely believe that Tim Automatic,
exactly. Automatic is good enough
could
to
literally win the game on his own. Could win it on, like, he could actually win the entire match of Counter-Strike on his own. Like, that's how good I think he is.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he needs 4 teammates in the server.
He needs somebody to bait for him, right? Like, he needs some help in that regard.
Soften some players up, throw some nades, give him some information. But I genuinely think that in a best of 1 situation, Cloud9 could definitely beat Fnatic. So, and that's because Fnatic, man, I've watched like almost every single one of their matches on LAN since Starladder, right? I think I've almost watched every single one of their games. And one of the key points for them getting across the line is clutches. Like, is winning clutches. How can you fucking bank on winning clutches? You can't. Like, I started to change my narrative to like, oh, well, they're winning them, so I guess, you know, that means that they could do it all the time. But still, like, you just physically can't take it to the bank every day of the week that you can win 4 1v1 situations in a game. And that is, right now, one of the win conditions for Fnatic.
Yeah,
I know that I don't know who I was talking to. It was either I think it was JW. Maybe it was Exist, but I think it's JW. Like, talking about the style when Exist came into the team. I think it was even the Face It major or something. It was like, we like to create chaos and then kind of work around it and somehow win rounds. It's like, even they kind of agree that their like approach to the game is kind of bullshit, but it kind of works for them. So
if it works, right? No one can argue the fact if it works. It's just like, it's so hard for me to put stock in a statistic that is one of the more random statistics, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying to win a clutch is random, but to be in a situation to win a clutch is random. Like, you can't say, all right, guys, we're going to go into the bomb site and we're going to kill 2 of them, and then I want the lurker to kill the guy on long to then put the chaos between the 2 rotators, and then what it's going to do is it's going to give you enough time to plant and then play the 1v2. It's like, Like, there's no way to quantify a clutch situation. Like, it's literally just they happen or they don't. So I think that the best of 1 is the scariest part about this format for a lot of these teams. I think overall we've been pretty clear on who we think the favorites are. Obviously, the Answers of the world, the Liquid. But then after that, I think it really starts to get murky. Teams can make it to the playoffs, but I think that there's a clear difference between like the best and the rest, right? Like, there's we could probably break it. We don't have enough time. We're gonna have to shut it down very shortly. I'm sorry, everybody, but we could probably break it into like teams who we don't expect anything from, teams who could be threatening in best of 1s, teams who, you know, have a decent map pool and could make it to playoffs, and then Liquid and Ents. And then it's everybody else, right? Do you guys think there's anybody else who'd put on the same page as Liquid and Ents?
No. Where's
Probably
my
not.
list of teams?
Unless FaZe just suddenly somehow overperform as fuck, which obviously is not something that we expect. I'm just saying I guess there's some potential there. I don't think anybody else. I mean,
we'll be looking at this summit event as well. Let's say either Energy or Vitality. Yeah, they win both of the matches like convincingly, best of the both of 3, win the tournament. Then of course they could maybe go closer to that bracket as well. But other than that, I think it's like Liquid Ends, and then you have this Vital. Like, who else do you think? I don't know. Like, I think Fnatic is the only other team I'd say could win the event, just because of their, like, them as a team, them as players. They have enough like balls to win an event. NIP doesn't have they have the players, like they have the mentality, but I don't think they have the skill to do so. And then FaZe, I don't believe they have enough. Like, even if Neo kind of works out for them, I don't think they're deep enough in that run to do so. And all of these, like NRG, they're still not a championship winning team for me. Renegades, no, considering the changes. G2 definitely not. Cloud9 definitely not. Vitality also, I think, doesn't have enough.
All right, let's do it like this. Let's pick your top 6 for the playoffs and who's going to win. Striker, let's go with you first. And then we'll shut it down.
Top 6 of the playoffs and then who's going to win?
Yeah.
Fuck, okay. I mean, from Group A to the playoffs, that's obviously at least Liquid. I'm going to put Vitality through as well. And then I'm gonna try it with FaZe. I feel like they could do pretty well in their first event. So Liquid, Vitality, FaZe from Group A. And then Group B, Ents, Fnatic, and I guess Energy. I guess you can't really put it to anybody else than Energy. Maybe Fnatic. I guess that's between them. But I'm gonna give it to Energy. I feel like they've been pretty stable. They've been making deep runs. Ents. What Fnatic, did I say? I did say Fnatic. Never mind. Yeah, I'm stupid.
Okay.
So yeah, Ents, Fnatic, Energy from the other group. And who's winning it? Who's winning? Yeah, Liquid. Fuck it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just go Liquid, Vitality, North from Group A. I feel like North have enough to be decent in this group.
Probably one of
say-
Vitality and North will already be in the lower bracket from
Yeah,
the start.
but someone
that's
has
rough.
to be in the lower bracket, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, but they will need to win 3 matches in a row. One of them will need to win 3 matches in a row afterwards to make it through.
Doesn't mean
which is
anything.
rough.
You win some, you lose some. And then sound logic. And then ends Fnatic Furia from Group B and Liquid to win it.
and Fnatic. So you've literally said
Yeah.
the exact same teams as I was going to say.
Okay. Great
I
minds.
was going to say Renegades, but I don't pick Renegades because every time I pick them, they'd lose. So I was going to go with Ents Fnatic Furia just because I thought it'd be fun to throw a curveball, but just to be different, so we're all a little bit different. I'll go Ents Fnatic and NRG. It's too hard to put much stock in the other names right now, and Liquid to win the whole thing. So, do we have any closing thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
No.
Give Vertigo
Only
a chance.
I want to announce that the DreamHack Masters Dallas Fantasy is live, but we will not be doing the draft right now on stream, but we can do it maybe after stream or whatever.
Sure.
I will see.
Yeah.
Just so you
okay.
know, other than that, we're good.
Okay. Well, if you want to catch the audio editions of the podcast, head over to anchor.fm/HLTV. You can fucking get all of the podcasts we've done. They're everywhere available. They're Google Podcasts, fucking Spotify, all that shit. You can listen to it all the time. We don't have any time to answer any of your questions today, guys. We're on a bit of a tighter schedule. We apologize. We haven't booked in another show just yet, but I would say it's probably going to be next Monday or Tuesday, something along those lines. So we'll try and squeeze one in then, maybe even next Wednesday. I might be able to do one from the hotel, but we'll see what happens. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast.
Go over
Peace
to the
out,
Summit
H
stream.
Sound.
The
West
chat
side.
was cool. Like you guys.
Yeah.
Only
Thanks for
Twitch chat that is decent in the
And you guys ask good questions. So, we'll do the fantasy. We'll get it up online. Remember to play. Maybe eventually we'll get some interactive content going for everybody. But goodbye.